Hi, my name's Leighton Jen. I'm the Director of Development for the American Documentary and Animation Film Festival. We should also say music videos because that's what we're talking about today. And this is Hunter. We got Hunter Wayne. He was the director of uh, Buddha Was a Rich Boy, which I think is one of the best titles we've had at the festival. And the Handsome Devils was the band. But
Yeah.
first of all, just a little note. We're doing this right during day one of Coachella, and I was late. And Hunter's been very patient with me, so I want to say thank you for that. And I hope that doesn't hurt my chances of getting artist passes when you represent someone at Coachella.
No, no. It's like anyone that's been to Coachella or has been through driving through there while that's happening, know it's a nightmare. So everyone thought this was like live streamed and happened like 2 hours later. I would still be on board for it. I get it.
So Hunter, let's talk about this music video. How did you get involved? You know, it's the Handsome Devils. How did you guys get to meet each other, and how did and then the brainchild for this music video, which is very innovative.
Yeah. So I guess the pregame leading up to that was I put myself a lot into other like friends of mine's projects. I'm more just like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And two of those people like said, I want to do this, and I was like hype beasting them, and it's been 2 years of nothing. So after a while, I just got tired of waiting and just thought, fuck it, I need to make something immediately. So I reached out to a few bands that I like and on Instagram, and I found that Handsome Devil's Instagram because I saw they were vague posting about an album they were working on, and they were in the early process of recording songs. And I just reached out and was just like, "Hey, do y'all need any videos done at all?" And whatever. And I wasn't expecting a response back because I never really directed anything that's considered like normal as far as the film and TV world, because it's been a bunch of experimental art projects that are just kind of just schlepped together on my website. But the singer, God forbid, was like super nice and just he went through everything and still somehow found it in himself to say, "I love your work." And it's like, oh, it never happened before, let alone from like an artist I love. So I was like, oh. And so he sent me a couple of songs, or like maybe four songs, and I was like, I really like this one, which wasn't Buddha, but
Mhm.
then Buddha was the one that of all the ones sounded like, for lack of a better term, the hit on their
Mhm.
album, because all their songs just sound totally different on a song by song basis. But Buddha, like creatively, that was his baby, I would say, as far as he has this beautiful family that like is seldomly talked about, with this like wife and two kids. And the two kids in this video are the two kids that are his. And he thought about them, I guess, with casting and the whole idea of the kids being on top of each other, trench coat hat style, to sneak in. That was all him. And even the bar he works at. And so it was all kind of a little self-contained idea sort of thing. And so we blazed through shooting two videos in 2 days. And I maxed out like two cards, like one per video. And the one that I looked at as more of a favor and that had less resources, which was this one, was the one that everybody resonates more. And I would say is the better video of the two, but I'm glad I did them both.
Mhm.
Like I can't think of a better way, like for a first time directing something, to get my hands wet, like,
Yeah. It sounds like you're the perfect one for this when you said experimental stuff because a lot of times look the same, and I think obviously I didn't get a chance to watch the full video, but the little bit I've seen, I was just kind of blown away. Just your visuals and everything like that.
yeah.
And I mean, when I think of visual artists, I think of a Tim Burton or someone like that.
Oh,
How did you come to your style and how you shoot and how you create your experimental art, I should say.
yeah. So I think for all the weird things I did, it helped me just sort of learn how to communicate with different departments that do different things, but also it allowed me like stylistically to dabble into different things. Because like the first ever creative thing I've ever made was like a VR haunted house in Texas, and I casted one of the main people from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as like my main guy, and so that involuntarily like kind of swiveled into me being in a weird nerve ending in like the horror community for years, just doing a bunch of different stuff. And I, because it was horror first for a while, but then like whenever you really get into the horror community, you realize that after a while it gets pretty, the note can only be sung the same way over and over till you grow tired of it. Not that I hate horror now, but I got
Mhm.
what I needed out of that experience. And then like I moved on to make a comic book album hybrid project, which allowed me to visually and sonically just like combine like two different things that I like, and just learning how to communicate with people that score, voice directing voice actors, and like going back and forth with illustrators, just to learn how that works. And then I think visually, like the perfect movie for me, like if I had to give an assignment that everyone should watch this movie, I would tell everyone to watch Freaked, which is co-directed by like Alex Winter and like Tom Stern. And like, cause that's like the perfect movie for me on a visual level. Like just I and that's kind of what I wanted to aspire for, just something that's weird, just something that can't be easily explained, just something that there's a bunch of different loves in there.
Mhm.
Like there's a like five or six reference, like whenever I call people to be like I want to do a combination of this and this and this and this, it's like totally different shit. But I guess Freaked kind of shown me that you can do more with like the weird factor without living in the same box the whole time. And so, yeah, I guess I don't know if I answered the question, but
Oh no, you did.
okay, cool.
Alex Winter, are you talking about Alex Winter, like Bill and Ted's?
Yeah, I am. Like
Wow.
that's
I
him.
knew he
And
was doing some stuff, but I
yeah,
didn't realize it was horror.
because that was shortly after the Bill and Ted stuff, because even Keanu Reeves plays like a fucking a dog man in that movie. That's like one of like these six freaks, and like Mr. T's like a bearded lady, and Bobcat Goldthwait is like a man with a sock for like the torso. That's like a hand puppet thing. It's just that's like the sweet spot for me in terms of just all these different like art forms just living together in the same thing. So this is basically like the dollar bin version of that kind of thing, I guess. So yeah.
Now, there's a couple guys there are a lot of people who get their start in music videos and they go on to be big directors. Is that something you aspire to? And also, is there someone who's taken that path that kind of inspires you?
Hmm. So I think that concept of a creative that introduces themselves to the world through the lore of this bigger art project or this bigger entity is something that like the only thing I could think of right now is when Zack Snyder did that Michael Jordan documentary, because that was like
Mm,
I think one of his first ever things, and just it's so far removed from anything that he does now
mhm.
that that's the kind of stuff that like whenever I see people dabbling into different art forms, that's the perfect thing. And so I would definitely recommend if anybody goes into directing, it's you're going to get a better response, I think, if you reach out to something, for lack of a better term, greater than yourself. Because I think that anytime we work with other artists on any film, it's something greater than ourselves. But at least like an IP kind of thing, or like a band or what, like music videos are great for that, I think.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, because the directing dudes that crosses my mind when you're talking about doing your meet the music video and then moving on to other things was reminding me a little bit of the Daniel story because they did
Mhm.
Turn Down for What, and then also they created Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that's
Right.
just they were thinking outside the box, kind of like you do, very creatively and stuff like that. Do you take any inspiration from them, or is it or in similar artists?
I didn't know Turn Down for What was them till you just said so.
Oh,
I just liked Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm like, oh, these guys are a good pairing. And it's like I haven't seen Skeleton Crew, but there's I just have mad respect for just bringing back like a practical element to the
mhm,
Star Wars franchise. And so I think just in terms of being in that sort of brain trust of people thinking the right thoughts, like they're definitely in that group for me for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Now, as music videos, are you pursuing other music videos or other artists to create their music videos?
So I'm open to directing literally anything. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't matter if it's like a social media campaign or if I get like kidnapped by like a country and do a propaganda piece. I could literally do anything and be happy just
Hmm.
so long as like directing, I think, is like getting a taste for blood there was good there because I think half of it anybody can do because half of it's literally just your taste, like what do you like and
Hmm.
whatever. It's almost like being a curator at a museum. Like it's
Hmm.
just if you like what you like, then it's like you can introduce that into like what other people see. And then the other half of that is probably reading 101 Things I Learned in Film School, which is like a picture book that just kind of gives like the spark notes. And it's actually like really helpful. And I wish I read it before I directed these music videos, honestly. Now I read it all the time. Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I assume this was your first time at AmDocs. What was your experience like this year?
That was I really don't know how any other film festivals are gonna like compete. And that's not like me just being fluffy about it. It really is just like I mean, first first things first, in the music video competition, where everybody just kind of competes with each other in that block, Jeremy Renner was in the competition with the rest of us. Like an A, I had to look it up. I didn't believe it till like maybe 2 days before this that he's still considered an A-list actor. But for some reason, like, we're competing with that, and it's just when I saw that come up on screen, I'm like, oh, that we all know who's getting the award. Like, come on. Like, because if it were me and I were a jury, I would bet on the A-list actor too. But I think that's what makes AmDocs so great on a creative level is like they are willing to put forward people that are making something. Not that what Jeremy Renner they didn't matter, but just like you get people that just are more willing to peel their time and peel their money to create something that really has an impact is rewarded at this
Mhm.
festival. And that was cool. Probably my favorite part of the whole thing was like getting to hang out with other people that were in the same sort of mindset as me, where like we didn't have to be in because when you go to film festivals, there's some level of like you gotta network all the time, but it's like there, it's like I felt more compelled to like make friends or whatever, and there were a fistful of other people that were in the same mindset, and I got to hang out with like the same 5 or 6 people for like a week straight, and it felt. I'm a 30 something now, but it felt like summer camp in the good way. And so like if anybody misses that summer camp feeling and is a filmmaker, they gotta send here, you know. And
Mhm.
I don't have it with me now. Well, I can run over and get it real quick,
Sure.
but the little program, um, they got like some of these little things, and like it's so weird that like my thing was at the front there, and also in the same breath when you flip on the back, I assume these are the investors. Like you
Hmm.
got Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones are
Oh
also a
yeah.
part. So I don't know if there's going to be another time in my life, like in my art time, where not only can I compete with and beat an Avenger, but also that you're kind of like in the same company as like all of this. Like there's a lot of niche and hidden Hollywood stuff in there that's really cool. And like I have an infinite respect for that. And the biggest thing of all for like going back and forth with these other film festivals right now is the housing program and the traveling. Like they're willing to drive you around. That's like every time I get accepted into a film festival after AmDocs, literally the first email I send is like, "Do y'all have a homestay program?" Literally, it doesn't matter what. And every single time it's like, "Well, you can get a discount on a hotel that costs entirely too much money." I'm like, "All right, let me tell you about AmDocs." And I do this like paragraph or two about just like the homestay program and the traveling program not to make them feel bad, but just for them to think about something before I show up and maybe make the right call. Because like I don't know, for making something that's like 3 minutes long and like destroying my credit score, I didn't think I was going to be rewarded this way. And it's like, for lack of a better term, I needed to be out there, whether I wanted something or not. You know? So,
Well, first of all, I gotta say we appreciate you saying all these kind words about us. And Teddy, our founder and our director, he does a lot of, a lot. He curates 2,000 submissions every year, but he also wants to make sure that the filmmakers are taken care of. He's a filmmaker too, and I come
Yeah.
from the journalism world, and I've told people, I did this in an interview. I said, the reason I like this film festival is that the people who do this here aren't doing it for a paycheck or for money. They're doing it because it's their passion and they want to express it. And that's what I
Well,
love about this festival. That's where you get the like-minded people. And that's why I think the networking is so. It's more than just networking; it's building bonds. That's what I love about our
that's
festival.
the biggest thing. And then I also love it's like it's an acknowledgement that we can't easily make these things rather than some of these other festivals. I feel like there's a sort of a like taking advantage kind of thing. It's like, well, if you book this hotel room for this amount of money with our discount code, none of that here. Like y'all actually try to help us out and like I don't know. I know I hadn't felt this is gonna sound sad maybe, but I hadn't felt important before I went to AmDocs.
Wow,
Like
wow.
as an artist, you know. And it's my first time being at a film festival too, so like a lot of firsts. So
Well, we're glad that you had such a great experience, and we really appreciate the kind words you've said about this. I forgot to say this. You won the jury prize for the best video, so we should say that. I don't mean to rain your parade. I know you beat Avenger, but come on, it was Hawkeye.
no, but still, it's like I thought about this. It's like I have like a really big like silk screen like a poster collection in my storage, and it's like I have like a little short list of things that you would be ready to sell right away, and I have this Mondo poster of the Avengers that was signed by Stan Lee, and I was ready to let it go. But then like after this AmDocs thing, I'm like, wait a minute. It's kind of funny now because Jeremy Renner's on the poster, so he kind of got to keep it. Now there's this added story of like not only was it during the time that the J.J. Abrams era Star Wars franchise was like doing open castings and I showed up for that, but also it was seeing Stan Lee that day and now also because AmDocs because I don't know. I wanted to see American Hustle so many times this week but forgot to. But with the with winning the award for a music video, I gotta say like half of it's whether or not the song is good, and if it was strictly like based on the song, it was the best song of all time. Like I don't know, like that Handsome Devil is like really one of those at like acts where if you see their Spotify Wrapped numbers at the end of last year, they beat out a lot because I think Arcane was like the big soundtrack attached
Mhm.
IP movie show thing. And these guys, I think they had like 666,000 listeners, like, or
Mhm.
something crazy like that. And just it outperforms like more than half of the artists that were attached to that Arcane soundtrack, which was like a huge Netflix thing. So I think that's more an attribution to like their fan base being very dedicated, but also to the fact that their music is wonderful. And then just also, of course, I lucked out with like getting like the seven of like the best people ever to support me wanting to do this thing. And like this is as much of a win for all of them as it is for me. You know.
Well, this is one of those great success stories. We're really happy to hear about your success with this being your first one. I assume it's the first of many coming down the pike. And like I
Yeah.
said, we're hoping to get the artist passes from you when you're at Coachella.
You already know, like it's AmDocs for like if we got like an awards ceremony, like they let us go up and like say our things, I would have said like a lot of this, but then I'd end it with saying like AmDocs for life, and then because that's what I Instagrammed Teddy that I was like, yeah, AmDocs for life, like done. You know what?
Well, we really appreciate you. And anything else you want to add? I mean, about AmDocs, about your what's next for you, or anything like that? Anything we might have missed?
The film festivals, there we're still like there's a couple of things here and there, but I would urge everybody follow that Handsome Devil on all the things like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They're one of those bands that there's a lot of music that we listen to where if you hear one song, you've heard them all. With these guys, it's more you have to hear a whole album to get an idea because for them it's like it I would say that it's hip hop first for those guys, but then like also Budo is a Rich Boy is very punk, but then they also have stuff that sounds very jazz influenced and country. So I would highly recommend everybody give them a listen, follow their page for whatever happens next with these videos. Shout out
Wow, that
to
sounds
shout out to God forbid and Jeremy Page for giving me a chance with these things. Love you guys.
well, that's awesome. Well, again, thank you very much. You know, like I said, welcome to the AmDocs family. You're going to be a
Thanks.
very prized member of it, and we really appreciate you. So,
Epic.
just some notes here. We've completed the 2025 AmDocs, but we already have dates for 2026, which is March 25th to 29th, and it's going to be at the Palm Springs Cultural Center. We are currently taking submissions for next year's festival, so go to www.amdocfilmfest.com and just go there and just get all the information you need to send in your submissions. And then let's not forget, check out That Handsome Devil and Buddha Was Rich Boy. So That Handsome Devil, check out the band, and we'll probably see them in Coachella or some of these big music festivals. And
Yeah.
then Buddha Was Rich Boy, check out that video. It's very innovative. And Hunter Wayne is a great visionary, and he's going to have a very bright future. Hunter, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.